Hello everyone, it's me, Scary T, and today I'm attempting to install the MAK trigger, which is the latest AR15 super duper adjustable trigger, which, and I guess I have to show it, looks kinda like a clown smiley face, doesn't this? It's almost creepy, like a horror clown. Anyway, I say I'm attempting to install it because I don't think they've tried to install it into a HK MR223 lower, and this is what I fully intend to do now. So, as usual, check if your firearm is unloaded, and let's get it out. Oh, in case if you're wondering, this MR223 lower is kind of like a spare lower of mine, because right now I have it on a standard AR15 upper installed, because I don't need it for other stuff at the moment, and that's why it's gonna be my test lower for this new trigger to see if it works as it should. And if it works great, or at least well enough, I'm probably gonna install it into another firearm. So there we have the lower, and let's see what the actual manual says what to do, because I'm gonna do this by the book. In case you guessed by now, I haven't tried this before. Well, I have changed triggers before, but not installed this one. So first thing is remove the trigger, blah blah blah. In case you can't see it or can't read German, they say that you don't have to remove the safety of the lower receiver, and well, I'm interested to see how this will turn out without the safety being removed. So first of all, of course, we have to get the trigger out, and I'm trying to find a punch pin that isn't completely useless. Just getting this in first. And see, there we have the first one. There it goes. So that's loosened up, but of course we have to get the hammer out as well, and not just the trigger, and we will need a bigger punch for that. Too big. Why are the punches so weirdly sized? That happens when you buy Chinese stuff. Let's get in here. So there goes the pin. And there goes the pin number 4, rear pin. And can we get the trigger out without removing the safety from an MR223? We will see about that. Yeah, there goes the part. Sorry if you guys don't like to see me struggle. I would prefer to see me not struggling too, but this MR223 trigger is something different. Doesn't look like any other standard AR15 trigger I've disassembled so far. That's because of this special part it has, and now this special part is gone. So, finally, back to the trigger. The manual says to put the trigger back, and now remove this. Well, obviously this is the straight one. Remove this pin first. So I'm gonna go here. Setting it up, and this pin should remove the actual trigger unit there is the pin. And as you can see, there goes the trigger of the trigger. So we are lining, well, first of all, we need to get the trigger in, of course. And the trigger goes in, just double checking. This is how it's supposed to go in. So it's going in this way. There we go. And now we're putting in the rest of the drop-in trigger. You can see if it moves together, that's a good sign. That means that you put the trigger and the drop-in trigger box back together. And now we do not try to install this one because that's just a slave pin. We're gonna install the original pin. So after a bit of reconsidering and trying, I see that it does indeed work. So the tricky thing is that there is a sweet spot that you have to hit to make this actually work, and trying to get this sweet spot is a real bitch. And I'm reattempting to hit it now, and if I won't, I will probably turn the camera off and go into another room and scream in rage, because this is really starting to hit a bad nerve. Okay, let's try this again. Seeing if everything is aligned. Now to get the sweet spot, pressing this a bit down. And there it goes. So the trick is to press this one down and this one up to get the right amount of tension. Oh, that was a piece of work. Okay, I really dislike putting triggers in. And we have the front pin, and that's interesting because this pin seems to be very loose. Can see that it works up, but that's maybe because it's not tightened yet. So see these two little screw holes? These ones are the one to tighten the drop-in trigger in the actual lower. Trying to tighten it the same amount on both sides. Also, do not over tighten. And this one is a lot more stiff now, so this one won't come out by itself. And there it goes. Of course, guys, never release it without putting something in between or using your hand to stop it, because else you may damage your lower receiver. So, actually this one should have been a very, very easy job, and you've seen me struggling like an idiot. And I'm really sorry for that. But that's just the way it goes sometimes. And now Let's see if this one is still mates together. Putting that down, that down, and getting this out of the way. This one back in. Go pin number 1, pin number 2. Don't get disencouraged by what I'm doing. Again, that's because I'm using a Phantom arms upper with a MR223 lower, so they weren't supposed to fit together, but with a little bit of love from the hammer, they do fit together. So we're trying to see the trigger works. Gonna make the safety test. Yep, it's not a full auto trigger. Still works. And that's interesting. Even the safety still works when the gun is not cocked. That's not a feature with every trigger that you replace with the MR223, but it works here. So, getting it just dummy rounds. There goes the dummy round. Well, that's it for the installation, and I'll have to regroup for a second, and I'll be back and try to show you the different ways you can adjust the trigger. I'm back, and to adjust the trigger, you can actually just use it if you don't have a gun like me. So you could adjust it by just opening the upper and do it more or less on the fly. Of course, it is not very comfy for me to hold the firearm and to show you how I adjust them, so I'm gonna remove the upper from the lower, which is again a bit stiff because those things weren't meant to be together. But at least I don't have any upper-lower receiver wobble. That's a plus, right? So we're gonna get it out here, and we're looking at this. All you need to adjust is the supplied Allen wrench or any other instrument that you can find that fit. We have already seen this one and this one. Those are not to adjust the trigger, those are to fix the trigger box in the lower receiver. So don't try to turn with these things if you actually want to adjust the trigger. To adjust the trigger, there's this nifty little graphic that shows what does what. So the things we are looking for is S21, S22, S3 and S4. They are supposed to adjust the, well, trigger weight, the trigger stop and the pressure point. So you can adjust this trigger in actual a lot of ways. Let's start with trying to adjust the actual trigger pull. You have to adjust both of these, at least regarding to the manual, to increase or decrease the actual weight of the trigger pull. So you have to make sure that you adjust them at the same time. Again, during testing, make sure that the hammer don't hit the receiver. Oh, that's stiff. Don't hit the receiver because it could damage it. So make sure you have at least some padding in between. I'm just stuffing this in right now. Of course, you should do something with a bit more padding, but this will work for now. I'm having my trigger gauge here and I'm trying to see how much the trigger is. That's almost 2 kilograms. Let's try again. 2.5. Maybe I should try to get it a bit more stable in my shoulder. 1.7. 2. Don't get irritated because the measurements are inconsistent. That's because I'm trying to awkwardly hold it into the camera for you. And that, of course, adjusts the measurement because I'm not constantly pulling with the same weight. Let's do it one more time. Yeah, you see that's pretty much 2 to 2.4 right now. Okay, let's try to adjust it. Then where put my adjustment tool? There it is. And this one would lower it off 1 full turn, 2 full turns, and 3 full turns. Same here. 1 full turn, 2 full turns, and 3 full turns. Now, let's see if that did indeed change something. So, and we have 600 gram. 600 gram. 699 grams. So that's actually changed a lot and it's now more consistent. So let's say that's maybe a bit too little to me because I don't know, I'm a sissy and I want to have more trigger control. I'll do 1 full turn, I'll do a 2nd full turn. Let's see how it changed. Okay. That wasn't my best pull yet. So there we go, slightly above 1 kilogram. Slightly above 1 kilogram. And slightly above 1 kilogram. So that pretty much works. Now, we have other adjustments too. This one, the S3, let me show you. That would be this one. This is the S3. Turning it clockwise lowers the trigger stop, but if we adjust it too far, it can block the trigger mechanism. In such case, turning it counterclockwise will raise the trigger stop and make the trigger function again. Okay, so this one is the trigger stop. Well, trigger stop is how much backwards you can go before it stops. So we should be able to test that without actually using the trigger. So let's see how that works. Again, it says turning it clockwise lowers the trigger block. I'm turning it clockwise now. So that's pretty much how far it goes. Let's see if it still works. Yeah, like the manual said, that was too much. So we're gonna decrease it. Now, I think it's, yeah, that still needs to be decreased. There we go. And it pretty much stops here. So let's see if we keep removing the trigger stop. See, now it goes all the way back. Can lower in the trigger stop. And we probably, that's a bit too short. That would be a good one. Let's see if it still works. Nope. So you noticed it's a bit of playing around and trying to find the perfect combo. That's not good enough. That's not good enough. That seems good enough. Yeah. So that would be our trigger stop. And now for the last adjustment, which is point number 4. There you have point number 4. The S4 adjustment is for the pressure point. The user can adjust the pressure point adjustment to engage right before the trigger drop to achieve a more precise shooting experience. Okay. I have no idea what that means. So let's see, we increase it by burning it down. So let's see what happens. Okay, that was too much. We're releasing it. Whoops. Okay, still too much. Okay. Now what this does add is that it's actually a bit of more weight behind that. So you're going to the point, and by increasing the S4 adjustment, you're sticking here. And after that, so it increases the weight of the 2-point trigger. It increases the weight from the stop to the actual release. So right now, it's more like a match 2-point trigger. That means if you keep adjusting it, it will probably become at one point a 1-stop trigger because you're releasing all of it. Now let's see if my theory about that is correct. Yep, there is no stop anymore. So right now it has become at 1 point. So now let's say that you want, I don't know, sniper rifle instant experience. We are setting the trigger weight back some more and try to see if I can create some kind of a hair trigger, which is definitely not recommended in a semi-auto sporting rifle, but just for a giggle, let's see if it works. Well, I think that we can even make that a bit more extreme. So this is the least trigger weight possible right now. Yep, that's another level. So let's just see what monster I've created. Well, that's 500 gram almost instant trigger, but it has a slight way up, so I probably need to tune this a bit more and see what I can do to decrease, increase. Anyway, you get the point. There's a lot of parameters to now it's instant. Okay, so you see, there's a lot of stuff you can play around with, and that's probably take some sweet time because you want to get it just perfect. But it's cool that the MAK trigger actually has so many options to play around and to modify it to exactly the needs you want it to go. If you have been watching until the end and see me just struggling with this thing, congratulations, you have a lot of patience. And with that said, I'm finally out of here, and I hope I didn't disencourage you guys too much, and see you again in another video review, which I probably call a new series, Sky IT Struggles Doing Things. Thanks for keeping up with me so long, and see you the next time. Bye.